Thank you, Ria. Thank God it's Friday and we're here again, to bring you the best of the best happening on the scene of the City of Power.
Yeah, good morning, Nigeria. Thank God it's Friday and so much will be happening this weekend, but we'll save it for after this discussion.
Let's jump into what we have for you today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to FCT Brief. Today, our focus turns to the intensifying faction disputes within the People's Democratic Party, disputes that continue to raise serious questions about the party's cohesion, preparedness, and strategic direction ahead of the 2027 general elections. As internal alignment shifts and power blocks jostle for control, the PDP faces mounting uncertainty that could shape Nigeria's political landscape in the months to come. These disagreements spanning issues of leadership, zoning arrangements, and internal discipline have triggered renewed debates among party loyalists and political observers alike.
Many are asking whether the PDP can reconcile its internal differences quickly enough to present a united, credible front to Nigerians. At a time when the electorate is seeking clarity, stability, and vision, the party's internal wrangling has become a major point of national interest and concern. To help us get through these developments and shed light on the party's strategies moving forward, we are joined this morning by Comrade Ini Ememobong, the National Public Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He will be offering insights into the root causes of the factional tensions and the steps being taken to restore unity and what the PDP's path to 2027 truly looks like. It's nice to have you here this morning.
Glad to be here. You guys look take away.
All right.
You want to take us away?
And quite a sad one coming from Bayelsa State. Just lost the Deputy Governor, Senator Lawrence Rujakwa. I think a sad one for the nation. Yeah,
very sad one. Very sad one. He was a very principled person. He stood out from the pack, and it's very sad that we've lost him. It goes to the question again, why good people don't live long.
Okay, but asking that question, let me ask you the first question now. In Bayelsa State, it was the governor and his deputy actually won the tickets on the platform of the PDP, but along the line, the governor defected to the APC. And by tradition, there is no vacuum. The deputy governor is no more. Definitely, there will be a new deputy governor that will be appointed. And this time around, will it be the governor that will have the prerogative to appoint a deputy governor, or is it the party that presented them that will nominate the deputy governor? This will be a legal tussle, is that not?
Yeah, it's expected to be a legal tussle. But you know that generally most things run on many pillars. Two of the prominent ones are legality and morality. And sometimes we do things that are legal but are immoral, and so you get to go on the legal front, but morally everyone knows it's wrong. And so, but the governor there is a gentleman. He's being referred to as the miracle governor. He knows how he came. He also knows the strength that this party put behind him to get him there. While it is the constitutional duty of the governor to undertake that activity, the appointment, but we do know that morality would speak to the governor that the votes that put both of them on that seat were votes. His face wasn't on the ballot. It was his face and name were not on the ballot. It was that of the PDP that was there. And so having taken a personal decision to move, and the incumbent now having taken a decision to stay back, he would do what is moral, which is we expect that he would do what is moral, which is to allow the wishes of the person because the gentleman didn't defect with him. So he should take that into consideration and do what is moral. You see, in most times, when we insist on pure legality, we lose out on the moral flank. Because when you look at the fact that the gentleman, so that it doesn't look as if he's celebrating the death, the fitting memory, the fitting glory that he can pay, respect he can pay to the departed, is to honor him with a representative from the PDP as the deputy governor. What does it change? It doesn't change the fact that you're governor and you took your personal decision. It also shows that even in death, that you have respected the decision of your deputy. I mean, if we begin to live life and see life from an egalitarian perspective, not from the narrow prism of pushing everyone into one line, then we'll begin to enjoy stability. We'll begin to even enjoy peace of mind. And we begin to ask ourselves, what if I was in that shoe? Because when you look at the fact that if the dead, like in African mythology, where we say that the dead are only dead to by the eyes, not to the ear, meaning that they can hear. And in fact, some mythology spreads to the fact that they can even see, they can communicate. So the question would be, truly, if the dead can see and hear, would the occupant of that office, now late, be happy with your nomination?
Well, let's move into the issues within your party, which is this factionalization talk. Many party members still describe Kabiru Tureki as the factional chairman, especially after the caretaker committee was announced on December 8, following the expiration of the National Working Committee tenure. On what legal or constitutional basis should Nigerians accept him as the substantive chairman?
No, I don't know where the research was done, where you said many party people. Again, I don't know if you check the party card to authenticate, and if you check whether the status of the people, are current as we speak. Now, so the truth is that in this organization, it's not everyone who wears a suit and wears a beautiful dress like you're walking around here. They may be guests. They may not be staff of TVC. What identifies you is the fact that either we see your face or we see that TVC has given you an ID card. So to that extent, many Nigerians, and the party runs on organs. It doesn't run, while the last base of the party are the people. But you see that you now have ward chairman, chapter chairman, state chairman, you now have zonal executive, then you now have the National Working Committee. Away from that, you have the National Executive Committee made up of the National Working Committee, the deputies, the former governors, former presidents, and so you have organs of the party up to the BOT. And so the question is, where are all these organs? So it's a statement of objective fact. These are natural occurring facts. So when people have the right of assemblage and can give themselves any name, and the party constitution is that easy, because for purposes of mobilization, we can have PDP Broadcasters Forum. It's a forum, but is it recognized under the law? We can have Friends of TJ. We can have Friends of Esh in PDP. And you have the right to meet anywhere you want to meet. But to become an organ of the party is commonsensical that the Damagun-led administration took decisions that were valid, clearly suspending people. But you now saw that thereafter, the people who were suspended now claiming to suspend the rest. Now, the constitution of the PDP makes the chairman a chief executive officer and allows that in the exercise of your function, including that of mine stated in the constitution, that it shall be done in consultation with the national chairman. Meaning that as I sit here, despite that it's my duty as a chief image maker of the party, I must exercise this role in consultation with the chairman. Meaning that the chairman can sit and say, Deputy National Public Secretary, go there. Ini, I don't want you talking on TV again. That is how the constitution is constructed. And now it says particularly about the office of the National Secretary, that the exercise of the entirety of his function must be with consultation from the chairman. So the question is, who convened the meeting? Assuming but not conceding that they were not even suspended, who convened the meeting? Out of 19 people who were in that NWC, did they achieve a quorum, which is 2/3? Did they achieve a quorum to meet? I say, assuming but not considering they were suspended. And so there are things that people give credence to, and it begins to tell to the intelligence of the person giving credence to. So you mean that the secretary sat and now said, oh, we sat with 3 or 4 other members of the National Working Committee, assuming they were not suspended, and now say, we have now convened a meeting, and we are now suspending the chairman. How does it sound to you? So, the constitution of the PDP is online. So no reasonable person whose head has not been commodified can say for fact that could have happened. So when you go back to that history and begin to drag from there, when you go back to the fact that on the 101st NEC meeting, which was observed by INEC, broadcast including by your station, you will see that a convention was agreed, a convention planning committee was agreed, you would see that a convention venue was agreed. So when you backtrack to that point and say that becomes the root of the legality of the Ibadan Convention. If there were disagreements thereafter, the post-disagreement does not nullify the earlier decision that was taken. And so they went on with the convention. Yes, the issues of the court were in the Court of Appeal, and that belongs to the court. But the statement of facts today is that a convention held. What people denied previously, they are even in court admitting to the fact that a convention held, but that the court should not recognize the convention. So that is a shift in position. Now, when you push that argument further, you now say that the convention held. Who were those? We have governors in our party, we have senators, we have House of Reps members, we have state chairman of the party. Just 2 days ago, we had a meeting with these organs of the party, and you saw them. 29 state chairmen with 2 giving excuses because one had a logistics problem, one was indisposed by health. Now, so when you look at that and you see that the board of trustees properly constituted is in one place, you see that the state chairman of the party are in one place, you see that the House of Representative members are in one place, you see that the senators are in one place. So how do you now describe a faction?
Now, while this back and forth is on, the 2027 election is just around the corner. And from the understanding why some of the governors are actually defecting is because they are not sure what the court will say about the NWC led by Tanemu. So they are defecting. Now, are you satisfied that rather than project on how to run 2027 election, your party has become a battleground? So what exactly are you doing to reconcile, if possible, those who are in disagreement with this NWC?
You know that politicians look at the next election, which is the pressure that has led to the emasculation of the opposition. Yeah. But leaders, true leaders, look at the next generation. The battle is shifting from election to losing the country. So we are, as much as we're interested in the next election, we're interested in gaining the country. And what do we mean by that? The battles in the PDP are not solo PDP. It didn't start in PDP. Remember when the battle for Labour Party started? Remember the battle for ADC? Anytime it looks like the opposition is coming together, you simply find disarray, which is clearly sponsored. If you look at the theory of intended beneficiary, you know where to place the sponsorship there. So for us, while we are rebuilding our party, we are more interested in protecting democracy, which is why we are talking to leaders across the lines of the opposition. And it's a clear signal that we are begging Mr. President to ensure that Mr. President post-government had excellent democratic credentials. But we want him to take note that history is recording. And the same way history recorded him as a Democrat, we cannot say that for sure about his administration, especially when it has to do with management of dissenting voices. Now, so to that extent,
are you insinuating?
We're not insinuating. We're saying directly that the president is the cause of the crisis in the opposition. We've said that several times.
Do you have any facts to prove that?
When in the law of agency, qui facie per alium facie per se, he who does a thing through an agent does it by himself. The key factor of the factionalization of most political parties are traceable to people either working directly with him or people he has a relationships with. Until now, he has not disavowed them. No, look, everyone knows. We can't play the ostrich. They push to attain a one-party system. They push to attain a situation. Look are you proud of what happened in Oshun? That's even the president's party. They set up, they prepared to hold a next meeting. They've postponed it. Excuse me, sir. When last did the APC have an elected convention to produce a national chairman? Tell me the last elected, 1 minute please, the last elected chairman of the APC. We're not shifting blame. We're saying that we know clearly where the blame lies. But what are we doing?
So when your party had 27 governors in the PDP, was it that the PDP was busy emasculating other opposition parties?
No, go and look at the political climate at that time and look at it this time. If we had emasculated, then Lagos would have been in here. I mean, if we played the kind of antics we are playing now. But assuming we're not considering that you want to take that line, are we progressing or retrogressing?
Well, if you're spending so much time looking for who to blame, aren't you concerned that your party is losing national spread, the very foundation with which the PDP was built on? Aren't you concerned about that?
What you should be concerned is whether it is the voters defecting or the people in government defecting for different reasons.
So are the people not voting for the personality involved?
What we are very concerned with is rebuilding a party the same way we built the party. How did we build it? We built the party around the people, which is why our slogan was and remains power to the people. Remember in 1998, we had no governors. We had no House of Reps members. We had nothing. But we portrayed values that drew Nigerians to ourselves. And that gave us the spread that today we now have. Incidentally, the people who benefited from this goodwill of the people have decided to joke with the goodwill of the people. So what do? We simply go back to the people, which is why you saw that using the system theory, we are going back to strengthen systems. So if the party is working well at the ward, if the party is working well at the chapter, working well at the state level, then you can begin to build up again. Because like Ndume said, have you checked? The people defecting, are they voters? And Ndume clearly made an analogy and said, look, people defected like this before. People in power defected like this. But when the election results came, it was different. So what we are saying is that we are looking beyond the narrow compartmentalization of PDP. We are talking across board to opposition leaders to say, listen, we are faced with an existential threat because electoral authoritarianism is a situation where the election becomes just an event, meaning that before the election. So, for example, look at the issues in the show. Call everybody disqualified, eminently qualified people, and said, no, look, let's go and put our places.
It is not
together.
of you to say eminently qualified because you don't belong to that party.
No, but the qualification is not of the party.
You speak of your own party because your own governor defected also.
Hold on. When you speak of qualification, they are not subjective, they are objective. You issue guidelines.
So when internal matter of a particular political party, you shouldn't come into that.
We're not. It's a commentary. So why are you coming into the internal process of?
I'm a journalist. I'm asking you.
So in answering your question, I'm showing you that it is not just us. It's a national malay. It's a situation where a one-party system would not do good to anybody, not even to those in the APC. Because when you have emasculated the opposition completely, it means that whatever is served in the APC, they must take. But if you have a vibrant opposition, even the APC will begin to checkmate to know that, look, some of our people can get angry and can have alternatives. That is the idea of multi-party system, the creation of alternatives. So to that extent, what we are saying is that we are very concerned, as much as we are concerned about electoral victory, we are concerned about national development. So which is why our position is simple. Which is why we're not just talking about the things in PDP. And we're hoping that you begin to ask us about the things in governance. Because the whole idea is to keep us talking about the things in PDP up to 2027. And so the discourse on national issues, the discourse on whether we're operating different budget systems, the discourse on insecurity, the discourse on things that matter to I and you will be left unsaid.
We constantly talk about that on the show if you watch us. But still, we're still focusing on the issues in your party because that's the focus of our topic today. And one recurring complaints within the PDP is that the governors have become even more powerful than the party itself. Has the PDP quietly surrendered powers to the governors?
No, not at all. The governors, in fact, the governors forum is not even an organ of the party. But I mean, because they are just like if you have a president, there are issues of courtesy, and they give advice. They are not an organ of the party. But if you are speaking about now, what the governors of the party are doing is to create stability. To say, gentlemen, can we reason beyond these issues? Can we look at these issues in a threshold compartment? And so what are the issues? The critical issue at the roots of the crisis in PDP is the fact that some people are saying, look, we want to stay in PDP and support the president. We shouldn't pretend about it. They've said it on TV. They've said, look, the only way PDP crisis can stop is if PDP has an agreement with them not to field a presidential candidate. Let's go and field other offices. But we said, no, it is against the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. Because on the first 2 pages of the Constitution, the party Constitution insists in its objective that it will field candidates in all electable offices. So how do we now have an agreement to frustrate the Constitution? So those are the issues. And so the larger majority of the people are saying, look, we will field a strong presidential candidate, and we are fielding to win, number one. Number two, in most of the places where governors have defected, why do you seem to have issues? Because the governors have defected, but they still want to hold on to the party. And so the people who say, oh, we're afraid, we may not have a candidate. So leave the party, leave the structure. So why are you afraid? If some people have said the PDP is dead, so what, are you a mortician? What are you doing with a dead body? Leave the dead body. And so if we are morticians, we are saying this body is not yet dead, and we're able to revive it. That is why we go back to Ezekiel, when he says dry bones shall live again. Yes, but when you look at the political analysis that we are out of power for this long, but it's a process of rebuilding. rebuilding with trust, rebuilding to make sure that the mistakes of the past do not find its way back into the future.
I like what you said when we started, that you're building, you're trying to see how you rebuild the nation, not just about a political party. And you say you're in talks with other opposition parties. Now, are you in talks also concerning 2027? A lot of other, some analysts say also that individual opposition party may not be able to go independent alone in 2027 to contest against the incumbent president. So you're considering an alliance or teaming up with other opposition to present a single candidate?
You know that political decisions come from concentric cycles of circumstantial conspiracies. It's the conspiracy of the moment. Now, so when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. But the most important thing is that we have a common position. All of us in the opposition, whether it is Labour Party, whether it is ADC, whether it is Zenith Labour, all of the opposition, that we are not satisfied with the leadership being offered by the ruling party. That becomes a common ground for discussion. And so, whatever comes out of that discussion will be a matter of the conspiracies of the moment. That moment hasn't come yet. And again, our concern now is to have a nation. We're in 2025. There's a year called 2026. But it looks like, for all intents and purposes, we're jumping from 2025 to 2027. So we are saying that for the nation to survive, which is why you see, I mean, this is the most magnanimous opposition you find. You find opposition leaders saying, look, on the issue of security, please, let's not politicize it. Mr. President, if you need our support on insecurity, we can help. Udo Emmanuel said it. I mean, all of our guys have said, look, we need a country to have an election. And that is the best and the most magnanimous opposition you can find, that is saying, we need a country. We don't care whether you're in power now, but we need a country. And going on to elections, we'll discuss elections. But when it has to do with humanity, when it has to do with security, when it has to do with education, when it has to do with health, if you need our help, we're even willing and ready to offer.
All right, let's talk about this mass defection from your party, which many are blaming on the unfair primaries and imposed candidates attached to your party. Now, has the PDP confronted this reality that its internal democratic process is pushing, its members away?
Where is the mass defection happening? Because
governors,
we finished.
The
governors are not defecting. This is the second or third year. They are not defecting on the basis of internal affairs of the party. He has mentioned why they are defecting. And that is the reason they give publicly. But if you sit with them privately, you see that coercion, inducement, and the rest have become the foundation. But when they come publicly, they say, oh, the crisis in PDP. Now, the question is, at the level of governors, the problems in the PDP, the challenges in the PDP were man-made. And the solution...
Before the 2023 elections, there was a lot of controversy surrounding the selection of your presidential candidate. A lot of people believe that it was not a consensus.
There are three ways.
Was that not the genesis of the problem?
No, that's not the genesis of the problem. There are three ways of selecting candidates by our constitution: consensus, open primaries, and closed primaries. Those are three ways. Okay. So if a consensus does not work, what's the consensus? All of us, the consensus addendum, all of us agreeing without dissension. And you know that for political parties, immediately interests are involved. Most times it's difficult to have a consensus, except you have a forced consensus, like you're trying to have in a show. But now, when you get to that point where consensus does not work, you now relate and say, look, do we do an open primary where all the members are voting, or do we do the closed primary where you have delegates, the delegate system, the electoral college? And we went through the electoral college. Clearly, it was televised live. I was there. And someone won fair and nice. Now,
you're dodging the question.
No, I'm coming to it. I'm going first to the issue of the presidential, because that becomes the basis, the foundation for which this agreement.
The power to the South. The South must present the candidate. Now, your party went the other way. That was the beginning of the crisis.
No. When you say that, who said it should be? Should we be governed by the external analysis or our internal analysis? We set up a zoning committee that was headed by Governor Tom, if I'm not mistaken. What was the agreement of that zoning committee? We followed the agreement of the zoning committee. The committee could not reach a decision on it. And so it threw open. Because remember at that time, yes, you would say that a president from the north was just exiting, yes, but that president was not from us. Remember that the last president we had was from the south. I mean, all of these arguments were placed on the table. And people said, since we are taking a shot at the presidency as an opposition, that can we leave zoning for now. We are the ones who introduced zoning. There are times when you're taking a shot from the point of weakness. You now begin to say who is the strongest candidate on the table. And how do you determine the strongest candidate on the table? It's through a nomination. And all of the people went into that nomination that night with one heart to say, whoever emerges from this nomination, we will support. How that spiral that people ate their words and now said, look, if this is here, this should be here and all that, became another issue. Now, take notes that every attempt to twist situations at the point you think you have advantage, there is usually the unseen factor that may change your previous advantage to a disadvantage. The people who eventually complained about the national chairman were the people who brought the national chairman. They brought against every advice, against principle. But now, so you see, the law does not allow you to take benefit of a process you created. So at that point, contestations occurred. You brought this, you can't be bringing and removing. The previous National Working Committee, you brought the chairman and everyone agreed with you. It can't be your way or the highway and you fought the person. Show me the people who complained about that process. They brought people and complained about it. So some people say, can we just go through the elections? And all hell was let loose. But I mean, the party thought at that point, and rightly too, that maybe with time, healing will come. But clearly, you saw that time and time, healing didn't come. And so the party had to take a position. Eventually in Ibadan.
Well, quite interesting, I must say, Mr. Ini Ememobong. We'll have to leave the conversation here, but of course we'll revisit it some other time. Hopefully you have your party in order when we come back.
It's already in order.
Well, we'll look forward to that
it's
in
already
2026.
In order. You're going to see that it's in order.
All
the organs are with us. But why do you want to exclude me from the celebration you're about to do?
You took that out of my mouth.
Why?
Well, no, you're already here, so we must say Mr. Eshomomo is going to be having a very eventful weekend because you're going to be celebrating your 25th anniversary.
22nd anniversary. Wedding anniversary.
Okay, I'm already predicting a silver jubilee there. But we must say thank you. So, congratulations on your anniversary. And also, it's going to be your wife's
a day after will be my wife's birthday.
It's going to be.
I want to say thank you so much for always standing there.
So you're going to be taking us out for a party. So everybody, bills on Mr. Eshomomo.
And I'm joining, right?
Of course, you're very well invited. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for being a part of our conversation. We'll now hand you over to Lagos, where Ria and the rest of the team are standing by to continue with the rest of the show.
All right, thank you so much, Ijesu and Eshomomo. I hope you know that the Lagos crew were really part of the celebration. I hope you know that. Congratulations to you on your anniversary as well. Thank you.